Hey everyone, good night, and welcome back to, well, it's been a while, so yeah, uh, I'm gonna be doing another live video, as you can see. So, yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait for some people to join in. Usually it takes a little while, and before I start talking. So, well, tonight the video is going to be mostly about trickster spirits, um, and with bit of a focus on. And I hope I can pronounce his name correctly. I learned it to say it's as Loki instead of Loki. um, it's yeah, that's one of the things that I try to if a spirit gives me, like, tells me their name and it's slightly different from what people usually say, so I try to keep to with what the spirit tells me. My light's going out, but okay, we'll just have to. I was using my PC screen as a light because otherwise it's just I don't like too much, like, having all the lights in my room on for these type of videos. It's just I don't know, it's less atmospheric. This is just I like it better that way. So yeah, I hope you're all doing good. I know things especially in the US have been a bit hard lately, so yeah, I just hope everyone is doing at least relatively okay. Over here things have been quiet pretty much. So let me just get started by giving a little something nice for our guest of honor. Of course I forgot to put his name on this thing. I don't really have a sigil for Loki yet or anything like that, so I just write his name on what I want to give to him, so he knows that this is for him. So there it is. I wrote it on the bottle. So maybe a few of you who work with him may recognize him just sort of coming in. I don't know. I'm not necessarily doing a ritual with him right now. It's just that when I'm going to talk about the spirits, I prefer to have them here, have them be present, or give them a chance to be present at least. Just invite them over. Hey Eric, yeah, I've been doing well. Just things have been quiet here. Not sure. Well, I'm gonna try not to touch my phone because it's very in a very delicate. If I have to scroll through the chat, I have to touch my phone, which is gonna set it off balance because it's in a very delicate sort of tripod kind of thing right now. I need to buy some new material, so I'm going to burn him some incense as well, and I'll just get started a little bit. I would like to start with how exactly I met Loki in this particular life, but in a conscious way. How I became aware, because it's quite a story actually. It's quite funny, and I will try not. This involves some other people who help me with that, but I prefer to not mention their names, so for their privacy. So yeah, basically, I was already working with Odin, but never really called on Loki actually. But several people were telling me that, oh no, this this is some weird stuff. I don't know if you guys just saw that, the lights just flashing back on again. That's just, yeah. That's the sort of things that he does. Or the spirit that he is connected, like, as you know, I believe spirits have different aspects. I know a different, another, like I knew him by another name. That's basically what I'm getting at. So, yeah, that's the sort of fun and games you can expect. Like, yeah, it's just the light pops back on, because I'll just assume that that means he's happy or something. I don't know. Yeah, so people were telling me that while I was working with a specific spirit, and they would see Loki right, or either usually right behind me or in a place where that particular other spirit was. They were telling me, like, I see him, I see the bendy horns and the, like, the whole thing with the, I guess he can appear like the Marvel characters sometimes. So I just thought maybe he's peeking around or something that like maybe because I was working with Odin and maybe he just got curious. Makes sense. I mean, I've did some bit of work with Thor as well, so yeah, of course Loki's gonna have a look because they are like this sort of a trinity. Hi Ali. Yeah, I'm good. Hope you're good too. So but there was more to it, because he just sort of kept appearing, it seems, and at some point I asked a friend of mine who was working with him and who has a very strong connection to spirits, in that she has a very, she can hear them very clearly, see them very clearly, and I asked her, like, does Loki know me? Like, have we... Yeah, that was his answer. Yeah, we do this and it and that together. What? How? I never... So it turns out that he's an aspect of a spirit I already know. And it's really... Because that particular spirit is not necessarily a trickster. And that spirit is also a mediator of mine. So that was a bit of something I had to take in, and it made me it made me want to understand tricksters better, and why, how can it be that a more serious spirit would choose, or not even choose, because sometimes it's just a job that they have to do. And why is it that why was that link there? And yeah, why? Too many things. So, first of all, I had to, like, go back. Like, that particular spirit never hurt me, or yeah, there was some fun and games, but nothing too bad. Or he would always find a way to make it right again, or just it would be okay. So there was that. Like that took me a while to realize that spirits can be trusted. Trickster spirits can be trusted. But yeah, so I started digging a little bit more, asking, and he was giving me quite a lot of answers. And I'll just share a few things that I did write some things down. So yeah, I wanted to share a few things about the nature of tricksters, as told by Loki, because of course there are different types of, different trickster spirits may have different stories and different explanations, but this is his. So, one of the first things I saw with this spirit is that I saw him kind of acting like a decoy almost. It's funny, or a bait. It's funny because the Dutch word for bait is lokaas. Look. Probably it possibly actually comes from Loki's name. Lokken means to lure, like a lure, or to as a bait or a decoy or something, to get something moving in a certain direction. And that is exactly what one of the things that Loki does is could be like, hey, I'm here, follow me, or in a way like agitate something. So, sometimes you need sometimes something needs to be agitated in order to move. And that's what I saw him do. And it had this massive effect of something following him in anger. But he would lead that thing into the right direction eventually. So it's just something that had to be done. And as the title of this video says, I know Loki takes his trickery, he takes it very seriously. It's a serious job. He may have some fun doing it, but it's he does it to perfection. It's another thing that you have, that he has to he has to excel at it. And it's a very serious job. Another thing I saw him do, or what he explained to me, actually, he said he was in this example, he was using Odin as an example. He says, so Loki can do something, whatever, something that raises attention, or that raises the alarm bells a little bit, agitates some beings. So he says, Loki does something. Odin then sees that and will try to overdo it. He will either try to reach in front of him, like go step over him, overtake him, or he will try to do the same thing but do it more, do it better, exaggerate at it a bit more of it. So I literally saw this, like Loki here, Odin here, and he would jump over, doing the same thing. And as he jumped over, it sort of became a spinning motion, almost like, kind of like yin and yang almost, but it became a wheel, and things started moving, like an engine. And in that, trickster spirits are a very important accelerator. And sometimes it just has to be done that way, because, sometimes if things are done it's nicely or in a soft way, or you just don't notice them. While if sometimes you just have to be poked into a certain reaction. Sometimes you need to have a certain anger rise up in you. Be angry at the person, be angry at that trickster for a little bit, just to get you to your engines running, because one of the worst things that can happen, not just to you but to the whole universe basically, one of the worst things to happen is stagnation. Stagnation is death. So what does a trickster do? A trickster avoids stagnation by keeping everything moving. And that it's extremely important. Um, it's like, yeah, if you won't listen to um, the soft way, or if you're not moving on your own, a trickster can come and just get a rise out of you and get you moving. So that's one. This is of course just one of the examples, but yeah, that particular visual, it was in a dream that I saw that, of the wheel turning, and how Loki would start that spin by doing something and provoking others to overdo it, so that they would topple over. That was a kind of, yeah, by overdoing it, they would fall forward and create the spinning motion that was very much needed. So, yeah, it's kind of where anger, like a sort of, it's still very controlled. It may seem like tricksters are out of control, but the thing is, they know very well what they're doing most of the time. But yeah, that's another thing about. So that's what my next point is. Having a trickster as a teacher. Now, for me, Belial has been. He's also he's a trickster god too, in a sense. Belial has been my defense against the dark arts teacher, as I usually call him, because it takes one to know one. A trickster being, a trickster spirit, knows exactly what a malevolent being who is about to trick you into something, who is about to pull some shit on you. They will know exactly the ins and outs, and if you have a trickster on your side as your teacher or as your guide, they will know how that works, and they will spot the red flags, and they can warn you or of course teach you how to recognize these red flags, because it's better to be taught by a trickster who is on your side and learn from them, be attacked by them and have it work out in the end. And yeah, so they can teach you very valuable lessons. Hey Shelley, good evening. Yeah, it's almost morning here, as you know. So yeah, I'm sure Loki can be very good at that too. For me, he's not. But for me, he is that particular spirit is my mediator. So, but yeah, it took me a while to accept that now and embrace that. And yeah, I realized that he would actually also, because the tricksters are so good about social things. Loki sure is. Loki is very good at human behavior as well. I'm trying to put it into the right words, because he is right here. Like I'm kind of being a spokesperson at the same time, or trying to say the things correctly. So I'm not sure if you guys, if people can see him, but he's sort of right. He's sort of here, sort of sensing him right here. Probably making sure that I'm saying the right things, which I have asked him to do. You know, just correct me if I'm wrong and things like that. So yeah, where was I? Right. Yeah, about having a trickster as your spirit's medium. Because he knows so much about different social interactions of both human and the spirit's world. He knows so much about what sort of action will cause this or that reaction from that particular being, human or spirit or deity or whatever, because it's his specialty. So, if he is your mediator, he will know exactly what to do and what not to do. He will know very clearly if you're about to mess up with another spirit or not. So that's a positive side, because of course it takes a while. You have to trust them. You will have to trust them like 200% and be sure that they're not going to be tricking you, which possibly they will, as it's part of their nature, but it won't be too bad. And if he does, that's another thing I noticed, that he'll always have a plan. So he will always make it right. I've noticed a few times where he can be a little feisty, like a little hot-headed sometimes, and things can happen very, very quickly with him. And it's not necessarily bad, but sometimes it can be a little bit like, okay, why did you do that? Or he is so very quick. It's like driving a Ferrari and you have to watch the gas pedal or you're going too quick. But he'll make it right. Like if you're about to spin out out of control almost, or you can't make the turn or something, he'll just dig another road, for instance. Like he'll bend the road for you a little bit, or make sure that you're fine, or otherwise he's very he's very quick to correct things too. So yeah, that's things can appear very chaotic, and yeah, he's actually very much in control of things, even when he's sort of not, but he makes sure that it's. I'll just say, like, yeah, stick to his plan, because he has a plan, and then if plan A fails, he'll have a plan B, and if you trust him, it will be okay, one way or another. So, hey Zeke, I noticed a few other people as well. Yeah, Keenan, he is so much more. But that is also, it's also another thing, another point I wanted to cover, is that Loki, for instance, Loki is a part of another, he is a mask of another being. Well, not, yeah, I mean, he has a higher self. Hey, sister! Yeah, I feel like I need a beer if I'm gonna be like a bro or something. I don't have a beer with me right now. Loki has a beer. But, yeah. So, I know not everyone believes in these things, but I do. I believe that spirits have a higher self, just like we do. They have different egos. Or we have egos, they have aspects. Different names, different versions of them. That's kind of a whole different subject, but like I said earlier, the spirit that I met, like the name that I knew before that I knew that it was Loki, is known as a very trustworthy spirit, very serious. Well, not, I mean, yeah, yeah, serious generally, very kind, um, patient, known as for his, yeah, he is generally known as a very friendly and trustworthy spirit. So sometimes these trickster aspects are there partially as an expression, because if for instance you're known as very trustworthy, there are certain things that you cannot really do in that particular name or aspect. So you need like an alter ego. That's it, basically. It can be a bit of an alter ego. So Loki and Odin are not the same beings. That is pretty much something I'm sure about. But if you, and I'm not sure if you saw what if you heard what I said earlier about Loki being the accelerator of Odin, among others. I mean, there's he's probably an accelerator for many beings, not just Odin. But no, they're not the same. Loki has different connections, whereas Odin also has his other spirits' names, same as Thor. Thor actually has his own trickster aspect too, so I don't think that, or perhaps very, very rarely, but spirits generally don't have several aspects within the same pantheon. When they have different aspects and different names, they have different names throughout different pantheons. So usually it's one name in each pantheon, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. It's kind of it's part of how they spread their energy, but also has to do with how different people, different tribes, different cultures have a look at the same thing from a different perspective. So that's that. Yeah, but definitely, as with most religions most cultures have their trinities, and for sure Odin, Thor, and Loki sure are a trinity together. So if you work with one of them, probably, or two of them, probably the others will show up as well. I mean, I was working with Odin, and of course Thor is going to show up. I mean, it's going to be curious at least. So, yeah. Yeah, I think I just sort of covered most of what I wanted to say. Yeah. So, I do believe, especially in Loki's case, he is an expression, kind of, it's almost like, not really acting, but he allows, through Loki, the entire soul of that being is allowed to do things that he cannot really do in his other aspects. So yeah, it's also funny that this being that is Loki, and it has many other names too, he has a thing for appearing in movies. It's like, I'm usually very skeptical about anything Hollywood related that comes from there, that with spirits in it. I just usually think it's bullshit. And I didn't watch any of the Marvel movies because I don't care for it. I don't care for all the superhero stuff. That's not my thing. So, but when I when I became aware that I had been working with Loki for so long, actually, but just in a different name, um, and that I actually knew him quite well, I became curious. So I had to watch all the Thor movies and the Avengers movies, and I don't know, but I can I think I can say that Thor wasn't there. Like, it's not. I don't know. The way he's portrayed, he looks more like Lucifer. But Loki definitely, like, I don't know, they picked the right guy. Even like the actor even looks like him. Or maybe what could be another thing, of course, is that he's been trying, like, the real Loki has been trying to tell me for so long that who he is, but I wasn't seeing it, and that he would appear looking like that actor, like the same physical features, and yeah, it's just. But also in other movies, he really knows how to influence things and have his energy in there. It's. I think it's one of the things he likes to do. Probably also why I'm doing this video with allowing him to use it and use that medium. I think it's something he likes, or something he's very good at. Then again, he's generally very good at influencing things. So, yeah, I think I did not expect it, but I think he's definitely in there in those Marvel movies. Like, he definitely had a hand in it. Probably also it could be one of the reasons why that character became so popular. Because that's what that spirit does. He mind control or mind manipulation. It's what he does. It's what he's good at. So yeah, I can definitely see how he had a hand in that too. And he's gonna have his own series, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah, and I'm usually so skeptical about these things. Yeah, Azazel, he definitely has a connection to the wolf Fenrir, but it's slightly different. He does have a Norse god aspect, but I haven't had a very clear confirmation from him yet, so I don't dare to. Same as that, I'm not kind of unsure if I should say exactly who this other aspect of Loki is, because it's not Azazel, but they're close, sort of. I just haven't had the go ahead from that spirit to reveal that name yet. So I'm just talking about Loki separately, and I'll just be a little quiet on who that other spirit is, just not saying his name. Maybe some people will already notice it, but I may have dropped a few hints. I'm not saying his name, but I may have dropped a few hints in the video as to who is this other name of Loki that I've been working with for a long time. So you can draw your own conclusions there. I didn't say it. It's just dropping hints. But Azazel is a god of war. And he's definitely connected to the Fenrir in that. Because who raised Fenrir and who got his hand bitten off? That would be Azazel, basically. So, yeah, the god of war. You're itching to know at this point. Yeah, well, I'm not sure how many more hints I can drop. So, yeah. Yeah, it's Tyr. Tyr, he got his hand bitten, and He's the god of war, and so is Azazel. One of Azazel's other's name is Ares, or Ares in English. I call him Ares. So that's that, and that's definitely. So you're definitely right on picking up on that connection, that he's definitely has some sort of wolf-like thing to him too. So, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is quite interesting, all these connections, and yeah. It just some people don't believe in this stuff, that these spirits can have all these different names. But if I'll be doing artwork with Loki, yeah, probably. I have already been doing artwork with him. That's the thing. Like, that's what he said to my friend when I asked her, do I know Loki, and or does he know me? And he said yes. And I said, how do we know each other? And Loki answered, we've been making artwork. So that, for me, that was like, how have, and for I think a few hours, or maybe even an entire day, I just had to sit down, and I thought, maybe has he been sneaking in, or but it was never sneaky. He was there, like he was there, hidden in plain sight. He sent so many signs already, but it was always sort of wrapped in jokingly, like wrapped up in a joke. So I never. Yeah, but on the other hand, it was probably good. I wasn't ready to find out who he was, because it would have freaked me out. I needed to really trust him first, trust that being that he is, trust him 200%, and then before I realized that he's a trickster. So yeah, but it's been good. It's I learned a lot from that, and from him, and yeah, it's been a good lesson. Also, it was kind of funny because a few years ago, someone asked me. Came, like, almost a stranger came to me asking, "How do you contact Loki?" And I didn't know because I've never worked with Loki, but I can ask my mediator spirit about it. Maybe they can put you in contact. So that mediator spirit told me, Loki doesn't want to contact humans. He's in a good place right now, and he's just not in the mood, or he doesn't want to contact. He doesn't want contact with humanity. And I should have known, like, right there. So this spirit that mediates for me, he was singing this song. As he was telling me this, sort of, he was singing this song from a fairy tale. I think in English it's called Rumpelstiltskin or something like that. In Dutch we call him Repelstiltje. He was singing this song in Dutch. And basically it comes down to, you will never know my name. Like, he was chanting that, you will never know my name. You will never find out. And sort of, I did not put those two puzzle pieces together, that my mediator spirit that was telling me Loki doesn't want human contact, that was Loki himself, like pulling a joke on me. So I think he must have had so much fun there, because it took me 2 years to figure it out. Yeah, 2 or 3 years even. So here I am now, 3 years later, and I'm just seeing it all, like, looking back, seeing all these puzzle pieces and how he had been throwing them around, and I never connected the dots till people started telling me that, you know, yeah, Loki's right there in your pictures and appearing and things like that. So, yeah, I have to thank these people for that. Yeah. And for now, I think it's about time to call it a day, night, because as you can see, the sun is already getting up. It's getting a little late here. I think I'm gonna get back to a few of you in the chat later on, a few of the comments. So, because it's easier for me without pushing over my phone. So, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good night.